All white people in America are born with some sort of racist beliefs, whether they want to admit it or not. And that is what Jane Elliott believes and has been preaching for decades. Welcome to News and History, where we talk about all of the most shocking events that have happened in history. Although this episode, we can't really call it history too much, because racism is still alive and running rampant today as much as it was 50 years ago. Jane Elliott was born in 1933. She's an American former third grade teacher, anti-racist activist, educator, public speaker, feminist, and LGBT activist. Now, how would you feel if you were judged strictly based on your eye color? Brown eyes being more superior to blue eyes. You, with the blue eyes, being forced to wear a collar around your neck to signify that you are less than everyone else. And no, you are not allowed to take that collar off, because guess what? People are discriminated against due to their skin color, and they cannot just remove that. Take a look at Jane Elliott on the Oprah Winfrey Show in 1992, where she has the audience participate unknowingly in this exercise. And look at how upset some of the white people are for being discriminated against.
How many of you people of color can take off the collar that we have put on you? How many of you can take off your color?
Well, we can see where this is going. She's saying that everybody has racism in them. It's not really about the eye. She's trying to teach about racism. But she can't get away from the fact that God created the races, and you are going to be different. You can't help it
God
to be like that.
One race, the human race, and human beings created racism.
It's called the blue-eyed, brown-eyed experiment. She first tried this exercise with her third grade class on April 5th, 1968, a day after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. She chose to do it that morning when her first student arrived and said, "Why was that king murdered?" When the rest of the class arrived, she asked the children what they knew about black people and if they would like to try an exercise to feel what it would be like to be treated the way a person of color is treated in America.
In the city, many places in the United States, how are black people treated? How are Indians treated? How are people who are of a different color than we are treated?
They're part of this world. They don't get anything in this world.
Why is that?
Because they're different color.
It might be interesting to judge people today by the color of their eyes. I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Oh, yes, they are.
She then decided to use eye color rather than skin color to show the children what segregation would be like. After the children tried out each role being superior or inferior to the other group, Jane Elliott had them write down what they had learned. The students' individual experiences were printed in the Riceville Recorder on April 18th, 1968, under the headline, "How Discrimination Feels," and then the story was picked up by the Associated Press. After the Associated Press article, Jane Elliott was invited to appear on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson to speak about her exercise in a short interview segment, but the audience reaction was negative for the most part. One letter even said, "How dare you try this cruel experiment out on white children? Black children grow up accustomed to such behavior, but white children? There's no way they could possibly understand it. It's cruel to white children and will cause them great psychological damage." Jane Elliott became less and less popular after all her publicity. Teachers shunned her in the staff room, people whispered about her when she was around. Even her eldest daughter was taunted at school. In 1970, ABC produced a documentary about Jane Elliott called The Eye of the Storm, which made her nationally known. Books were written about her, other documentaries were made, and she began to receive awards, spoke at 350 colleges and universities, and has appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show 5 times. Here's Jane Elliott now at the time of filming, 83 years old and still as passionate as ever about racism. In this clip, she's answering the question, why do we hate?
We hate because we're taught to hate. We hate because we're ignorant. We are the product of ignorant people who have been taught an ignorant thing, which is that there are 4 or 5 different races. There are not 4 or 5 different races. There's only one race on the face of the earth, and we're all members of that race, the human race. But we have separated people into races so that some of us can see ourselves as superior to the others. We thought it would work, I guess. It hasn't worked. It has been bad for everyone. But it's time to get over this business.
That's it for this episode of News and History. I hope you learned something new today. Hopefully racism ends sometime soon. We need more people like Jane Elliott spreading the word and educating people. Thanks for watching News and History, and we'll see you next time. If If you made it this far, you're most likely interested in watching another one of these episodes. Click here for the news and history on a woman in Black history, Sarah Bartman, who was in a freak show exhibit for her assets. Or you can check out this news and history episode that we did about Hitler. We share some new details that you may not have known about his story, but the rest is history. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.